Yo, what is going on, guys? It's Steven from the BS Show, and sad news for Jimmy Smith fans. He was recently let go from the UFC as a commentator. He went on the Luke Thomas MMA Hour show to say his part, what happened. So I do suggest you guys going and checking that out. I'm gonna play a little clip from it right now, and then we could go into a little more detail about it. So here we go.
Much as you can tell us. I guess I'll just start with this one. What happened?
Very simply, it was you're great, fantastic. We love everything you did. We're going with UFC fighters for 2019, so that's it. I don't think I'm leaving out any syllables. It was literally that was the conversation. It was we're loved everything you did. Fewer shows. We're going with UFC fighters for those shows. That was it.
So are they doing UFC fighters for all their shows? Is that the idea?
Yeah.
Well, except Joe Rogan, right?
Yeah, of course. But other than Joe, it's all UFC fighters. That's it. We had no issue with your performance. Everybody loved you. But you didn't fight in the UFC, so that's it. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, interesting, guys. I mean, I have a lot of questions after the UFC let him go because the guy was backed by so many fighters. He was backed by Joe Rogan. A lot of promotions loved the guy, and a lot of people even compared him to Joe Rogan, saying that he was the Joe Rogan of Bellator, which, I mean, that's gold standard comparisons right there, you know? Jimmy Smith is just, he's such a good commentator. So these questions I have is, so they're only going forward with fighter commentators besides Joe Rogan. So I'm curious, so is John Anik no longer going to be a commentator? I want to know about that. Is the next video I'm going to do John Anik released from the UFC? Also, I believe that Jimmy Smith was a fighter at one point. Actually, I don't believe. I know he was. So that doesn't make sense to me also. And on top of that, is the UFC only going with current fighters? Because, I mean, that puts Kenny Florin out of a job too, because he was a fighter in the past. So what is the UFC doing here? Because everyone loves Jimmy Smith. They signed him onto a 1-year contract, which I already found kind of weird. And he talks about that on the MMA Hour of Luke Thomas. So part of me kind of feels like maybe this was a plan by the UFC to kind of take some pillars out of the foundation of Bellator. You know what I mean? Because he was a really good commentator for Bellator, and we rarely utilized him here in the UFC. He didn't do many fight cards, commentating at the desk with Joe Rogan or John Anik, DC, which that's what he killed at. That's what made him so big, is because also, like Joe Rogan, he had a great breakdown and understanding of the sport and really translated what was going on really well. So I have so many questions after all this. I mean, I hope the best for him. I know for a fact he'll find a job somewhere doing commentating, and I hope it's for mixed martial arts because the dude's an absolute stud when it comes to commentating. So yeah, I do suggest you guys all go look at or go watch Luke Thomas's breakdown with him, because he does unravel a lot of that yarn, a lot of those questions that we may be asking ourselves. And yeah, what do you guys think about all this? Do you think that it's smart? Do you like the UFC only going forward with fighters? I mean, I love certain fighters doing commentating, like Dominic Cruz, DC. I love those guys. Those guys are top notch. But I don't care for other ones. I mean, I feel like it's a little wishy-washy. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'm really curious about what the public perception is on all this, because I'm super disappointed because I was really hyped when we signed Jimmy Smith. But I mean, I guess all great things have to end eventually. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Anyways, guys, peace.